had this on my mind for a while. I've noticed there's sort of a debate about heteroromantic bisexual men, and I want to give my thoughts about it. So, with heteroromantic bisexual men, it's sexual attraction to both men and women, maybe non-binary people, depending on how non-binary is defined, but only romantic attraction to women. Some gay and even other bi men feel like this is exploitative, and it's just a justification for viewing other men as good enough for sex but unworthy of a relationship. They argue that this is actually the product of internalized homophobia. However, heteroromantic bi men maintain their orientation is real and valid. So who's right? Well, at the risk of sounding like an enlightened centrist, I think both sides make good points. On one hand, I think it is common in some online bisexual groups to get labels assigned to you without requiring much introspection. For example, some guy figures out he's bisexual, but he can't see himself in a long-term relationship with a man. He goes on some bisexual forum like r/bisexual on Reddit, and is told that he is a heteroromantic bisexual. Now, while it is possible that he genuinely is heteroromantic, it is also possible that there are other factors causing him to not be able to see himself with a man. For example, in some sects of Christianity, there's this idea that gay men can't feel real love. They just have wild, crazy sex, which, hello, bass department? No, I'm just kidding. But, if he was raised in one of those sects, then it's possible that he internalized those ideas and needs to work through them. Or maybe, more benignly, he just hasn't really seriously imagined himself with a man. Now, for what it's worth, I'm not a big fan of the term internalized homophobia, since it's often applied in a very generalized way, like, if you grow up in a society, you just get internalized homophobia by existing, which I think is a bit ridiculous. A gay or bi kid who grows up in California with an accepting family and an affirming school who has good mental health and coping skills will probably be fine, whereas a gay or bi kid who grows up in rural Mississippi and has major depression will probably have some internalized homophobia. This argument doesn't account for any other factors. I'm also a bit cranky about the term since it seems like there's a small subset of gay men who go on and on and on and on about how homophobic society is, but then deny that biphobia exists. It's like, so only one group is oppressed in society, and conveniently, it's the group you're a member of? Okay, buddy. But this is the thing. Sometimes people can internalize these ideas, so I think in the heteroromantic debate, this is a valid point. But on the other hand, there is some evidence that romantic orientation can exist among bi people. There isn't a lot of evidence, it's still a new topic being studied, there hasn't been a lot of research, but there is some, so I don't think this is a very reasonable position since there's some evidence against it. So I would say if you feel like you're heteroromantic, you should critically examine why you feel that way. Were you raised with the idea that same-gender relationships are less than or inferior to heterosexual ones? If you were, then it's worth examining if you have some internalized homophobia. If not, I would still wait to apply a label for romantic orientation, since possibly you just haven't met the right guy/girl/NB, whatever your gender is. Maybe you are biromantic, but most guys, girls, NBs don't appeal to you romantically, just like how you don't find every person you see on the street attractive. Perhaps you just have certain preferences romantically. Now, there's also this really dumb argument that goes, well, bi men say it's biphobic if gay men don't want to date them, yet they say it's okay if a heteroromantic bi man doesn't want to date gay men. One, it's obvious that bi men who are upset about gay men not wanting to date them aren't heteroromantic, they're biromantic or homoromantic, since heteroromantic bi men, by definition, wouldn't want to date other guys. Secondly, the terms biphobic and homophobic are overused in dating. It's not biphobic if you don't want to date a bi person. It's biphobic if you don't want to date a bi person because you believe in bigoted stereotypes about them. For example, if there was a gay guy who only wanted to date other gay men because he wanted a partner that shares a sexual orientation with him, that's not biphobic. But if he doesn't want to date bi men because he thinks they're subhuman degenerates who should be genocided, then yeah, that's biphobic. But it's not because he doesn't want to date bi men, it's because of what he thinks about them.